Tony Abreu here, Perceptive Outdoors. In this video, we're going to be talking more about some Rattler adventures that I've been having with this. This is like the second week that I've had it, or actually the first week that I've had it, and had a lot of cool things happen, a lot of cool footage. Killed a couple coyotes as well. And so we're going to go ahead and get into this, so stay tuned. All right, so just got this Rattler last week. This is basically the 35-640 Rattler, running it on a 6.5 Grendel 12-inch SBR, running the pistol stock just because it's light and short, and I like it. I like it because it swings easy on my golf cart. Basically, I'm just going to go through what I did here. And I got this scope last weekend. I sighted it in on Sunday at 50 yards. Sunday night, I went out and I was watching a couple of different feeders. It was pretty bright out, but where I hunt is pretty bright anyways. So I'm standing looking down this gap, and I'll pull up the footage now. But I'm basically standing looking through this little gap to where there's two feeders, and they don't really run both at the same time, but one's a gravity fed, one's a spinner. The one with the concrete blocks, that's what those are. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching raccoons. There was actually 4 raccoons on the one gravity feeder at one point, and while I was watching them, 2 coyotes crossed behind the feeder. And I just have a narrow lane that I'm looking down, and the forward one, which I think was the male, kept going to my right. And I just sat there. I actually stopped the video because I wasn't sure, but I didn't see the other one after it got lost behind the feeder. And then quickly that one came out a couple minutes later, and I quickly hit record. And then you can see here, that was the last time that that male ever saw that female, because she was a female and she was pregnant and she is now deceased. So that was a cool shot. I'll just show it again just for the heck of it. I'm glad I was able to hit record in time to actually film that, because it was a cool thing to happen on the same day that I sighted this in. So then after that, went back out on Thursday night, went hunting with my main hunting buddy, G, I'm going to call him, and we went to one farm field where they were running a pivot. We actually we're driving on the golf cart, which we don't normally do. We normally walk because everything's centralized where we are, but we decided to get on the golf cart, and we're driving down towards the top of the hill where we could see out, and we saw a coyote down just past the pivot motor. So we take off down there pretty quick. The motor's really loud, so he can't hear us. We're hitting the little bumps where the tires of the pivot go, so it's bang, you could hear a little bit of noise. I was like, but it didn't really give us away because the motor was so loud. So we get down just past the motor, we set up, and you'll see here that I run, basically I just get set up on it. I'm just starting to, actually, if you look here, I try to push the zoom button to get in because he's a little bit out there, and instead I hit the camera capture button, which pops up camera. But even before I did that, my buddy Gerald was right next to me. Boom, he shoots it, drops it, and so then it's done. So then I just leave as you can see here, I just leave my scope set up on the thing, and we walk out there, we get it. So I'm going to pause for a minute and let some of that footage go. So with that being said, this is my little short barreled rifle. And just to give you a little bit of background, I've had a couple of issues with this thing. If you don't hold it tight, because it's so short and it sits right here on the actual tripod, whenever it shoots, it tends to bounce a little bit. And normally I take this part right here and I pull it tight into my shoulder, and I didn't really use the actual hand grip before, because I felt like it was taking me off a little bit. So I would just put my thumb around the outside, pull it into my shoulder, and shoot. But on this occasion, I was running a battery pack just to run it and to save my batteries for whenever I needed them, because I had a set of rechargeables in here as well. And I could not get my hand around this properly. And on the next set, what you're going to see is you're going to see me shoot and miss, but also there were 2 coyotes that came in because we moved, and we'll just get into that now. So we basically moved back up the hill and around the corner, and there's a pivot just dripping right there. I left the golf cart back a little bit, so I didn't record on the tablet. I recorded straight on the actual unit here, so there's no sound. But we started calling towards the right to a tree line that was probably 400, 500 yards away that we've called 6 dogs out of at the same time before, and we ended up killing one of those. And nothing really popped off, no noise. We could see a little small like possum or something off down the hill and to the left, but nothing really sounded off. And then I started hitting some coyote yips, and a bunch of dogs popped off to our left. So after doing that once and then doing it again, I was like, well, let's just move the call to the right. And we slid over a little bit, and we set up towards the right, and the 2 dogs came screaming in. And once they did, his stopped, mine never really stopped. And he shot his down, and I started shooting, and I ended up shooting a bunch of rounds and just couldn't hit anything, but the dog was running as well. But I figured out that battery pack was causing me not to get a good grip on my rifle. So frustrated after spending a bunch of rounds right there, we went and collected his dog, and then we moved to another property that we haven't been to in a while, which is 90 acres, and it's a little tricky. But you basically park across a road, you ride down a little bit of a hard road, and then you cut across into the 90 acres, or part of the 90 acres. And we pulled in the gate there, and there was a coyote already laying in a field right behind the person's house that lives there. So now I'm going to pull up this footage. I got quite a bit of footage of this dog. The dog was in the field. I just started running like a rat, not a rat call. And the dog came out and got in front of us in the field we were in, but there's kind of a house back in that way, so we didn't really shoot. But the dog laid down, and then I started moving through calls and finally got him up, and he was moving towards the right, and he was over 210 yards away. And I had this thing on full zoom, as you will see or can see right now. And then the dog stopped, and I took a shot, and again, as you can see, whenever I shot, the gun just moved so much that I totally missed the dog. Totally frustrated at that point. I've already missed 2 dogs. Like, what's going on here? So, I was just ready to quit after that. But I was like, no, let's just keep going. So then we move, and we go down the property a little bit through one cow pasture and then a second cow pasture. And then we pull all the way up to this fence where normally we have a lot of good luck, but there's actually a drop off and a hill. And in that spot, the dogs, they get lost in that hill, but we've had a lot of good stuff. And there was actually a bunch of dogs that were popping off over there whenever we started calling at the first spot. So we go over there, and this is where the footage starts getting good. I start calling the yips again, and 2 dogs immediately. There's dogs everywhere. There's a dog way on the other side of the fence, and then 2 dogs immediately come running up the hill, and as soon as they clear the hill and stop, by the way, I removed the battery pack. That was causing me issues. I removed the battery pack, and as soon as the dogs stop, boom, I shoot. I hear the hit. I thought I hit the dog good, but apparently I hit him right down because he was kind of quartering away, and I hit him kind of in the guts a little bit. The dog took off running. I followed him all the way to the tree line, was trying to keep up with all the other dogs. Pretty sure that dog is dead now. It sucks to shoot a dog like that, but sometimes it does happen. And another learning lesson for me. I'm definitely not a professional here, but I am learning every day. And just removing that battery pack was a huge deal. So after that, we sit there for a minute, and there's no sound going on. I shut the call off, and he's like, turn something else back on. So I turn on the pup distress, and start running that, and dogs are running everywhere. I mean, I see another one of those dogs run down. He's just at the bottom of the hill where you can just barely see his ears. He ran to the right, and then there's dogs out in the field you can see there. There's all kinds of stuff going on, and probably about a minute or 2 or 3 minutes later, here comes one of the dogs on the peak of the hill. He's running, and he stops between me and my buddy. My buddy doesn't even see him. I put it right on his chest, boom, drop him, and let the call play for some more. The dogs are still running around, but we couldn't get any more to come in close. And that pretty much wraps it up for this hunt. So we were able to put down, 4 dogs. I'm 99% sure that the first one I gut shot, he's done. I mean, because the dog, whenever a bullet hits guts like that, he can't survive. So 5 dogs this week. Not everything came from this. My buddy's shooting a varmint, but still, just to be able to go out and get that kind of footage with this in the first week was pretty amazing. I'm pretty stoked about it. And, I just wanted to keep putting these little videos out to share little tips and tricks about this and the stuff that I'm doing with it, just to kind of keep a vlog style thing going. So really quick. So back to the batteries. These are the batteries that I'm using. They're 10,000 milliamp hour batteries. They have a Picatinny rail clamp on the back, and basically they fit on any Picatinny rail. So these things will power the Rattler for 17 plus hours. And I just, whenever we were out, it was just getting in my way a little bit. So I'll just have to figure out to move, my tripod's right here. I just had to figure out how to hold the gun a little differently, whenever I'm actually shooting. But most people, have a longer rail. I'm just shooting the short rail, so it's disadvantaged. But these batteries, you can find these on my website at perceptivegear.com. They'll actually say for the Rattler, and they work really awesome. I've sold a lot of them. So thanks for watching this video. If you're looking for these scopes, I sell these scopes on the website as well. And thanks for watching. If you like this video, drop a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.